Hey guys, I'm always getting asked about my podcast and how do you get to make it, and what tools are you using to get online and get your ideas out there? Well, let me tell you, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's by far the easiest way to make a podcast today. Everything you need is all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And then hosting, which is kind of actually technically relatively complicated. They do all of that stuff and distribute all that stuff. Guess what? For free. They do all of that. It's Spotify. You'll see your podcast show up on Apple, on Stitcher, all these great platforms. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, did I mention that it's free? So here's how you do it. You go to the Anchor app. Go to the App Store. Just put in Anchor. Or you can go to the anchor.fm and you can get started right away. Thanks to our sponsor, Anchor. Hey everybody, here it is. It's Monday night. It's time for the podcast. That time, it's not 4 a.m. this time though. It's only 11:42 p.m. I am living the hack, my friends. I am living it. This is my commitment again to you, my customer. This is the hustle part of the hustle bus. Hustle is the hack framework. Well, get my story straight here. All right. Yeah, so that's the theme song. There we go. That's the theme song. I actually have a great theme song. I got some great comments on it. Welcome to the cafe here today, the Sales Cafe. And we have a bunch of things on the agenda for today. The first thing is, it is Mother's Day, and I hope that you had an awesome time with your mom, or called your mom up, or relayed your expression of gratitude and excitement about being born into this world as the result of your mother and her biological need to have a baby. Whether you were planned or unplanned, you are an awesome creation. You are. And your mom loves you. Whose mom doesn't love them? And you have to just thank your mom for all the awesomeness that she had you. You were born into this world to make a difference. And so welcome to the Hustle is the Hack podcast. Again, my name is Pierre Hulsebus, a 35-year veteran in selling technology, business development, and coaching salespeople and working with salespeople in business development all across the world. And I want to pass on my vast wisdom to my friends out there, you, my wonderful audience. And so today, we are going to attempt to do some of that. Share what is in the mind of Pierre Hulsebus. Share information that will help you get your sales career hopefully kicked off or kind of starting. If you're in business development, you're going to find this to be a great set of a lot of basic rules of the road and kind of how to get off on the right foot in your sales career. If you're a seasoned veteran, hopefully you'll pick up some tips and insight into some of the current things that are happening out there and how to really position your product and service for the next few years, so you're ready to pounce on some market opportunities. If you are a nonprofit and you think you're having some struggles with connecting your values and messages out to your prospective business sponsorships and using folks that might be part of your fundraising efforts, this podcast is for you. This is for you. You are my target audience. If you are a managing complex sales and you're $1 million sales leader, just turn off this radio or this podcast right now, because it's not for you. It's not for you. You're going to listen to this and you're going to go, Pierre, this is too simple. You've oversimplified this. But you're not my customer. So I'm sorry if I offend you by oversimplifying this. But I really believe that there are basic kind of foundational things that people should know about as they begin this process. And don't forget those. And you can get all high and mighty and super fancy and all of that in your big fancy sales career 20 years into it. And because you're smart, you don't need my advice. You're doing great. Thanks. Good job. Go do your own podcast and share your insights and wisdom or come on my show and share some of your stuff. I'd appreciate it if you did. All right. So what's the first thing? The first, I have a little bit of a revelation, over the week. And, yeah. It was a little scary when I started thinking about it, because it's one of these things that you start thinking about and you kind of go, this is scary, Pierre. Why did you think about this? And so what is in the mind of Pierre? Top of mind right now. I say it, hustle is the hack. What are the challenges of hustling to get ahead, to work at, the time that I'm working at right now? Is a lot of times hustling is for a season. It is a good thing to do for a season, because we all need balance in our lives. We all need to have some long-term. We actually have families. Now, I'm in the position currently that I don't have children at home anymore. I don't have little kids in baseball games to go to anymore. So at my career stage right now, I don't have that. I don't have that pressure. It's just me and my lovely wife and here in the house, and my daughter who's finishing up college, and I have a son in college also that is visiting from time to time because he's off on campus. So these are helpful things when you're hustling. So I have some time to hustle right now, and so that's great. But hustling like this is not a long-term growth plan. It's hard to scale your business when you're, hustling. Now, I'll tell you this, if you are the sales director or owning a business or the head of business development at a nonprofit, and you're a founder of a company, you will always have more passion than everybody else around you. You invented the thing. You are, personalizing this. This is you. This is your business, and you're doing your darndest to get it out there and get the thing started or get the thing moving in a different direction. So, of course, you're more committed than everybody else, and you have to be weary of that kind of position that you can put your team in, because you're expecting them to be as committed as you. And that's kind of hard sometimes, quite frankly, to do, because they're looking maybe you as an employer and not a founder. So they, of course, don't have the same cotton picking motivation that you have. You're building a long-term business. They're working for a paycheck. And that's a very different model. I've always looked at my job as a career. I own my career. I'm not an employee. I own my career. And so I'm always working on improving that career. And that's kind of the model that I've worked on, is you just trying to, and that's where the hustle idea comes, is that, I don't want to be outworked in a deal. I don't want to be outworked in a business opportunity. I don't want to be in that position where I feel like I could have done better or more to win it. We'll talk a little about some of that today, a little later on today. But, the thing is, what I'm really trying to, what are you, get to the point. Get to the point already. Get to the point, hustleness. All right, here we go. So here's the point. Hustle is the hack. That's true. That is a core, key to success for a lot of folks. What it is, though, you have to realize that is not a growth strategy. That is not a growth strategy. It's hard to scale hustling. Because you have to be able to leverage, as you get your thing going, you have to give this away. You have to give parts of your job away, parts of your hustle away. And again, not everybody's going to have that commitment. So it's kind of hard sometimes to look at it as a sustainable system. It's not a sustainable system, or it's not really a growth plan. You have to be able to work through others and leverage the work of others to get that. And that's a whole nother topic. But anyways, I say it's a little tongue-in-cheek. Hustle really to me means hard work. Just get out there and do the hard work and be super committed to it. So that is sustainable, and that is something that we can all get passionate about. Anyways, so I digress, but let me progress with my digression into what the topic of our show today is, which is 7.4 rules of selling. What are the rules of selling? So for the next 20 minutes or so, I'd like to kind of dive in to what these 7.4 things that you, as you go out there and do you, out in the field of whether you're doing, again, business development or account management, or you're trying to raise funds or start a company. These are the 8 basic rules, or 7.4 basic rules. I like the goofy way of looking at it, but they're, a list of some of the rules that can help you find success in this area. And the first thing that you're going to see, number one, the rules of selling, rules of business development is fill the pipeline. That means every day when you get up, you have the first thing that you have to do in this whole thing of developing business is filling that pipeline. And what in the heck are we talking about? What is the pipeline? What is the pipeline? So this is sales terminology. Many people experience a tremendous peak and valleys in their sales and business development efforts because they don't really consider consistently prospect for new business. This frequently occurs because they're super busy. We're busy doing some of the other stuff that's on the list. The other 6.3 things that are on this list, we're doing that stuff. And so the thing is to think, number one, every day when I get up, what am I going to do to fill my pipeline? And you can break a pipeline down. So what is a pipeline? Well, let's just think about this for a second. On one end of the pipeline is a perfect example. Over the weekend, a pipeline in the United States was turned off. And so it was turned off because there was apparently some cyber hacking that was happening, and they were victims of some cyber hacking. And so they had to turn some of their systems off, which in fact turned down their pipeline. What's on one end of the pipeline? Oil production and oil tanks as that oil is getting pumped out of the ground in Texas. And what's on the other end of that? Well, those are gas stations on the other end of that. Over in the New York area, it's pumping into gas tanks over there and oil tanks over there to be delivered to customers. And so there is a process. It's a very long pipeline. It's over 1,000 miles long, or about that, from what I understood, and it's quite a long ways from one end to the other. And so think about selling like this. I need to, out of the one end, the results of all of this effort that I'm going to put in is going to be a sale or a financial transaction. That is a result of all my business development efforts. Now, that sale takes some time. People don't usually walk in the door unless I'm selling furniture. I usually don't walk in the door and go, oh, I'll just take that. And you go, thank you very much. And you just take the order and you're done. Like for retail salespeople, I used to work in retail sales. It worked that way. Actually, people walked in the door, you talked to them for about 10 minutes. And you help them decide what computer worked out best for them, and they walked out the door with a computer. The majority of selling is not that way. Usually there is a process involved of talking to them on the phone, arranging appointments, having meetings with the prospects around different questions and challenges they have, whether that's engineering diagrams or they want to see your prospectus or whatever. So there's a sales dialogue you have to go through. You give them a proposal. They have to consider that proposal, compare it maybe to other competitors that you may have in the marketplace. They might come back and ask some questions. This out before, and then they go, sounds great. Let's get it. And then they go, all right, now talk to my purchasing department. And the purchasing department says, we want a 4% discount. And you said, that's not what we agreed to with the other guy. And then you have to go to your legal department. There's a contract. There's all sorts of stuff that has to happen. It's confusing and complex. Anyways, depending on what type of selling you're doing, this is what's going on. So that process takes a little while. So you have to consider that time and effort as part of the pipeline. That once I get engaged with a customer in the call, there's a whole process that I have to go through. Give them a proposal. They may reject my proposal. So I'm going to use my $1 million. Let's say every month I need to make $1 million sale. So what I have to think about is from the time that I talk to somebody, they're a lead in my system, the time that we identify a person of interest and we begin engaging them in a sales conversation, that lead to conversion rate is important to know. How many? So let's say every person that I talk to from a customer standpoint, once they walk in my door into this meeting room or whatever, we're now going to track that opportunity in the system. And every quote that I give to somebody, well, it takes 4 quotes for me to turn into 1 sale. So that means I have to have 4 opportunities for every sale that I get. So to get that $1 million, that means I have to have $4 million worth of opportunities for every month that I'm working. Say it takes 1 month for my sale to go through. From there, I also have to back that up. How many leads in terms of people that express some interest is there before I go from a lead to an opportunity in the system that I can keep track of and start sending a proposal out? Well, let's say maybe there's 10. There's 10 leads. For every 10 leads I get to turn that into an actual proposal to a customer. So to get my 1 sale, I need 4 opportunities. Each one of those needs 10 leads. So that means I need 40 leads to get in my pipeline just to make my 1 sale. So, and then you keep backing that up. In order for me to get the name of that person and have them express interest, how many kind of impressions do they need off the website? And how much information do they need to get from social media in terms of impressions to direct them to the website, to drop their name, to say, contact me. So maybe let's say that's 1,000 impressions out there before I get one lead. So that means not only do I need to have my 1 opportunity that I'm going to close, 1 deal, my 4 proposals that I need to have. So my 4 opportunities that I need to track and deliver, and my 40 different leads that I need to process, and now 40 times 100, right? 4,000 impressions that I need to have out in my social media feeds and on my website in order to get 1. So I have to go find 4,000 different people out in the universe of prospective customers and direct them and engage with them somewhere out in the social media website world, search engines, to get them directed all the way so they make it all the way. So that's what we refer to as a sales funnel or a pipeline report. How many do we have in each one of those stages? And so every day, my job is going to be to fill that pipeline, to make sure all those numbers, if that's my fictional customer, my territory, that's the work that I need to do every single day. I need to keep working on all of those different parts of this business every single day and fill that pipeline. That is my core everyday job that I'm doing as a business development. And if I'm running a sales team and I have marketing departments and I have pre-sales help and all of this kind of stuff, that's all the work the whole team is doing, that basic funnel work and pipeline work. So that's every day you're getting up. What are the other things that you're going to do? Well, number 2 on the list of the rules of selling, or what the heck am I supposed to do today? 7.2 things. So the first one, fill that pipeline. Get that job done. Have you filled the pipeline? Number 2, ask high quality questions. I mean, that does come without a lot of controversy, but asking well-written questions. Folks that have been doing this for a long time, if I am a senior person, I'm going to have a list of questions already. I have a go-to list of questions. I've been in the same software sales for like 10 years. I still have the same list of questions. I add more to those questions. So I have all sorts of different types of questions for each different role that I'm talking to. All the different, I sell a complicated product, and so there's lots of influencers at a customer that are part of that buying decision committee. So we've got the technical people, we have the business people, we have the service people, we have the accounting department, we have the CEO, we have all these different people, and all of them have different needs. And so I have different questions that I want to ask them when the conversation kind of goes a little sideways or things go a little quiet. I always have new things to talk to them about. So that's an exciting thing. So ask high quality questions. We're going to talk a little more about this because it's actually a big part of this. When you ask good questions, you get really great answers, and people lean in and start doing that. And so they start engaging. And so failing to ask high quality questions both not only shows you're a moron because you don't know what you're talking about, you're not relating to their industry, and you are not building trust. You're asking stupid questions. And so this is why it's not just asking questions is not the thing. You want to ask good questions. What you don't want to do, this is what you don't want to do. Back in the old days, there was a show on TV, and it was Dragnet. Dragnet. Do you remember Dragnet? I remember Dragnet. It was an awesome show. It was about Joe Friday and his partner. I forget what his partner was, but it was a detective, and he would go out and he would interview, and he was always just the facts. That's all he wanted. That was his line. He didn't want to know anything about the feelings or observations. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. That's how he would say it. And so he would come into he would describe we're going on to the scene of the scene of the crime, and they're trying to figure the crime out, and they're interviewing all of the witnesses of the crime and all of this, and they'd bring out their little notepad, and then they would just ask questions. And it was just nailing people with questions and questions and questions, and then they would come up with the conclusion, of what the crime was, who stole the cars, or who murdered the landlady. They would figure it out by just asking questions, and that was the thing. But if you were on the receiving end of that questions, you kind of felt like you were getting interrogated a little. And there actually is a lot of studies that are done on questioning and how questions are done. And, the thing that's interesting about questions is puts you in a position of control and it's kind of a little like role playing. You become in charge of the conversation, and it's a way that salespeople can often use questions for control. And that's great, but you don't want to overplay your hand either. And so that's why having a list of questions is really good, and understanding the questions that are the type of questions that they are. Are they open-ended questions that allow your prospect to expound on observations and needs and their feelings and all of this? So you have what we could refer to as feeling-finding questions, or open-ended questions that let the customer kind of wander around and answer however they like. And other ones are just fact-finding questions. What color? day, that are just closed questions. So you have open questions and closed questions, and you need to pace those very well in terms of your universe of high quality questions. And once you get, if you're brand new and you're just kind of hanging out and sitting in the meetings and stuff like that with seasoned salespeople, this is what you want to listen for. You want to start writing down the questions that they're answering and what questions would be good follow-up questions, and listen to the questions that are being asked. And because intuitively, really good salespeople know this. You don't even have to train them. After a while, they know this is how it works. This is how you engage. How are the kids? What's the weather? You're using questions to run the whole thing. And so a good salesperson or a good business development person will do this. They will have a universe of questions. The number 2 on this list of 14.6 things to do, I always love the list, so I kind of make a little fun of it, is listen, cut and pick. Will you turn the television off and just listen? Put the paper down, honey, and listen to me. So listening is really important. I really believe that the salespeople are the best listeners. They can really be the really best listeners. If you invest your time asking great questions, it's critical to listen to what the other person tells you. So really, the best salespeople or best business development people are the best listeners, because that's where you start to engage in relaying something that's really important. This is what's important. What the customer thinks. I know this sounds so basic, doesn't it? But how many flipping times have we been in that meeting where the salesperson just asks questions for control? They don't listen to the answers because they've already got it all figured out. And it's just some big charade to help move the customer's prospect into a customer. And so they're just following a script, and they're not actually listening to what the customer or prospect is saying. So when you listen to people, and I say practice the McDonald drive-in listening model, because you know what that is. You know what that is. You know what the McDonald's listening methodology is? Yeah, this is the McDonald listening methodology. Let me explain this to you. This is how this works. So what happens is you have this guy first when you drive up to McDonald's. You have some bozo behind you that is he's out there playing. He's playing this. He's got this really cool tune, but he's jamming it really hard, and so it's just back there thumping away. He's got something going on back there, and then you got your kids in the car with you. All right. Dad, I want a hamburger and 3 Cokes and a... So you're trying to get the order. You got this guy behind you with the stereo on, and then the car, because now there's double lanes. You got the two, so you have another car over there with the speakers going on. And now you're trying to ask again, hey kids, what do you want? What do you want? I mean, this is what you have to put up with when you're doing a drive-through order at McDonald's. Okay, it's just a cacophony of noise, and you have to calmly relay a complicated order to your to the person taking the order. And so they are sitting in a worse environment than you are, because they have the really cruddy headset and they can barely hear you. Plus, not only the stereo from the guy next, they are hearing your engine noise too that you can't hear because you're inside the car. You're not hitting close enough to the speaker. You're kind of back inside your car. People are yelling. The fries alarm's going off. All of this noise. It's a wonder anybody gets this right. And like 80% of the time, that order is always wrong if they don't practice the McDonald's drive-through methodology that I'm going to tell you. The McDonald's drive-through methodology is you literally just repeat what that person said. That's all you have to do. This is a way that you can relay, hey, I'm listening to you. Your information is important to me. I want to get this accurate because I don't want anybody returning the order. I don't want you opening the order and say, I wanted no fries, and you get you get no fries, you get onion rings instead of, I wanted the double with the hamburger and the ketchup and there's no ketchup on it. I mean, this is the stuff that really makes customers mad. So you want to get the order accurate. And so a way to improve, again, is to practice this methodology, which is, oh, thank you for your order. If I have that right, it is, and they repeat the order, don't they? They repeat the order. And in the really great places, they have it actually up on the screen as they enter it in. And so you can see, no, you got it wrong. It's a medium Coke, not a double Coke Zero or whatever, right? So you're able to kind of get this communication laid out before you actually commit to anything. And so this is the way, at the end of your meeting, summarize your understanding of the conversation in your own words. Check the accuracy of this summary with the person you're talking to. Yes, it is common courtesy to do this, but it builds trust with the person, because basically what you're telling them is, I'm interested in what you have to say. That's us all. And in many ways, a lot of people in the sales game don't actually care what the customer has to say. They just want to close their sale. They're focused on the outcome and not on the process. And when you're a prospect, you want to be listened to. All right. Number whatever. What are we on? 4. We said first, fill the pipeline. Number 2, ask high quality questions. Number 3, listen. Number 4, focus on your presentation. Okay, so I sit through presentations every day. Every day I sit through these over and over again, sometimes the exact same presentation as we go through the same presentations over and over again. And I'm just going to tell you, it can always get improved. You can always make your presentations better. The first thing that you want to do in any company provided slide deck. So let's say I work for Acme Widget Company, and I'm going to talk to a prospect about Acme widgets. And let's say I'm not a big company. I'm a small company. I'm working for a small company. And the owner of the company prepared the presentation that I'm to give to the customer. And what is the most important thing for the owner of the company to let the customer know? The deck contains, here's a list of all of the customers that we have. We've been in business for 47 years. My father started this company back in 1842, and it's been in the family business for so many years. We've had a long-term success. We're pillars of the community. Our product is second to none. We've been selling it for a long, long period of time. It's really great. At some point, we'll actually listen to what you need, but I think it's more important right now that you understand how important we are as a company. And so what they begin the presentation with is all slides about them. And let me tell you, customers don't care about any of that stuff. They do not care when you're getting FaceTime with a customer. Do not, if I ever see any one of you in this class pulling that stunt, I am going to call it. I'm going to call you out on it. Don't do that business. That's the worst thing. And this is stuff you go to the wall on. You go to the wall with the owner of the company if this is in it, because nobody likes that stuff. Nobody listens to that. You've lost them. You know that part in Jerry Maguire. He walks into I love Jerry Maguire. It's one of the greatest sales movies ever. But this one scene when he walks back into the room and she's there with all of the girls and they're all complaining about how bad marriage and love is all about. And he walks back into that room and he's like giving her the pitch. Like, I totally screwed up. I've neglected you, and we had a really great day today. And I just need you, Dorothy Boyd, back into my life, and I've screwed up and I apologize, and you're the most important thing, and you complete me. And he gets all emotional and all of this. And she's like, shut up. You had me at hello. Just the fact that you showed up and came back is good enough for me. I know where your heart is. And we all love that scene in that movie. Well, this is what your prospect is saying when you show them that crappy kind of presentation. What they're saying is, shut up. You lost me at hello. Basically, as soon as you opened your mouth up and showed me that slide deck that the marketing department built or had contracted somebody to build in 5 years ago, that's got to go. Customers don't care about this stuff. So focus on the customer's needs in your stupid presentation. Get rid of all of that, regardless of what a marketing department thinks. People don't care about your company. There's other ways to relay that information, like in your branding and in your website. Go tell the story there. Have a nice YouTube 10-minute video interviewing, all of the company and why they're so important. But customers don't care about that stuff anymore. That's not important. That's, for goodness sake, they're buying stuff on eBay and on Amazon without even knowing the company they're buying it from. They don't care about this stuff. How long you've been in business, who cares about that? In fact, if you've been in business too long, they think you're old and stodgy and don't have any innovation. So that's why they want to get rid of you. Anyways, so it can work against you. All right. So focus on your presentation. So you filled your pipeline. You're engaging with some customers during the day in high quality questions. You're listening. You've got a really slick presentation. You're really focused on creating that in there. And then the third one, the next one on the list is really trust, building trust. If people don't trust you, we've talked a lot about this in the last 3 podcasts, so I'm not going to belabor this, but trust is really important. Know that people care about that kind of stuff. Look at it like currency. Either you got it or you don't. And when you do things that are trustworthy, you deposit into the bank more positive credit for that customer or that prospect. So when you're listening and asking good questions, you're building trust with people. You're building that trust. So that's why it's really essential. Another way to build trust, which is item number 6, do what you say you will do when you say you will do it. Now, why is that important? Holy cow, we just talked about how important trust is. So if you weren't paying attention back there in the back of the class, were you not paying attention? Hello, this is important. Come on, guys. You're killing me here. All right, so this is what we're saying. You do what you say you're going to do. So like 80% of success, it's been said, is just showing up. It's just doing the basic part of showing up. And I will prove this to you that companies are so awful at this. If you are in the business of buying a house, if you're really interested in buying, I go through this all the time, try to hire somebody, for example, go on the website, go out on Google's or on Facebook and say, hey, I'm looking for someone to help me. I want someone to do my yard this year. And then someone's going to say, hey, call Joe Johnson's excellent lawn care service. And you go to Joe Johnson's excellent lawn care services website and you put in, hey, I'm interested in somebody doing my yard. Then count the days that it takes for Joe's awesome lawn care service to get back to you. We did this. I did this actual exercise myself. We were interested in building a house several years ago instead of buying a pre-built house. And I didn't build a house because of this one thing. The salespeople killed it for me. We went to the local home show, which is 150 local contractors and builders and folks that build like the sheds and do your, I want to be my own contractor and I'm going to contract all these companies to build a house for me. I have a good idea of where I want to build it. I have options on land to build it. I think I even have a builder that will help me build it. And now I just need to start to get budget money for, how much is the pool? How much is this particular roof going to cost me? Give me heating and cooling bids and all of this kind of stuff. I want to do that work. I'm going to save myself $50,000 by doing this. Well, so I dropped my name and talked to 100 different companies in the period of 3 different visits to that location, to the home show. And guess what? Out of the 100, I got calls back within 1 week from 5 of them. Like that rate of follow-up was about 95% fall off rate. I didn't get even callbacks. Half never returned any information to me at all, ever. So like I'm actually an active buyer looking with money in my pocket, looking at your products, and none of them show up. And so this is the thing. This is the thing about doing what you say you do. If you say you're going to follow up, do the follow-up. Even the follow-up is, I don't know the answer right now. Again, another opportunity to build trust. Sometimes when you don't know, it's easy to follow through and just say, I don't know yet. I'm still waiting on so-and-so, or, that we're still working through the details or whatever. Give them a status update. Call them every day. Let them know, hey, your stuff is really important. I'm keeping track of it. It's waiting for engineering right now. So you are following through. So that's really important. 7 great ideas for you. Number 8 is the best one of all. Number 8 is the best one of all. Okay, here we go. The last item in the great list of awesome things, 8 rules for selling. And the last one on the list really resonates with me. It resonates with me on many levels because first, it's a literary reference to one of the greatest books in American kind of our list of American classics. This one goes back to the 1800s. It's an old book, and it's about a feller called Captain Ahab. Captain Ahab and Moby Dick. And let me see if we can pull this together. So on the stack of stuff. Oh, yes.
Show us your crooked jaw. Show us your wrinkled brow.
It's Captain Ahab. He's out there waiting for Moby Dick to come up. They're seeing the birds. Seeing the birds. The birds. Oh, here he goes. So here comes Moby Dick, and he's hell bent for leather, man. He is ready to, and Ahab is up for the challenge. So it's now man versus beast, and man has all of his minions behind him helping him out. He pulls the harpoon, he throws it, and he gets it. And 4 other harpooners in his kind of crew all get it. They all land their harpoons on the white whale named Moby Dick. And, of course, back then, it now becomes a race as they tie their boats to this screaming whale that is giant. They're little skiffs, if you will. And, of course, this is not going to end well, of course. He's yelling, and the music is big, and the special effects are happening. Moby Dick jumps and dives, and there goes one boat, totally tipped over. And he's, let the men go. Just screw the guys that just died. Forget those guys. Closer, more risk. Let's add on more risk to everybody else. It's right there. The whale is right there. It's like, wait, can get this whale. What? Oh. The whale somehow goes a 180 underwater and comes straight with an open mouth at Captain Ahab now. Oh. All the guys bail. Ahab gets stuck on the whale. He's now on the whale. The music continues to rise, and the whale goes underwater. And some of his guys are drowning in the water. In fact, now the whale is kind of pissed, and so Ahab grabs onto the whale in the last fit of desperation. And the whale goes underwater, and Ahab is kind of stuck on the whale now. He's climbing the whale, bloodied. He's gonna kill the whale still. Sing barehandedly. He's gonna do it. The whale, of course, just dives underwater, drowning said Captain Ahab as he continues to impale him with the harpoon. Of course, not doing enough damage. And he stabs him a couple more times. Yeah, He's yes, overacting. This is what happened in the late 50s. A lot of overacting. And the sea is calm, and everybody goes back now. And of course, Ahab and the whale are gone, and the men are just like, wonder what happened there. not too excited about it. They're kind of sullen and sad, pulling some people out of the water. Let's go back. Oh wait, there the whale shows again. He comes out of the water, and Ahab is of course dead now, impaled and entangled in the actual rigging of the whale, of the ropes and whatnot. He's dead, but he beckons. So that's the line. That's the best one. So this encapsulates. He's dead, but he beckons. And so that's the whole thing. Why in the heck can't we just know when to quit? Sometimes we encourage people, and I love to be motivated, and I love to study and listen to different analysts come up with different ideas and encourage people to have the grit and determination to follow their dreams and all of this. But that's what Captain Ahab did. And if nothing teaches us that sometimes we can pursue things to our demise and the demise of others, is that when we don't know when to let go. Sometimes we look at an opportunity and we see the number behind it, like, oh, could be worth $1 million. My, Widgets R Us company, that's worth average sales $1 million. So it's $1 million. We can't give that up. And yet we're going to ignore every bit of analysis we've ever done on those types of customers and prospects to go, that prospect probably isn't going to buy because we don't usually do well in that market, or we have alternate reasons. And believe me when I tell you, I've learned this lesson personally in very painful ways. And when I try to share this idea with my sales teams that I work on, this is hard for anybody to look at an opportunity at maybe an existing customer and go, they're thinking of buying an add-on, but we have this big investment that we need to make, we have an RFP that we're going to respond to. And it's like, we do horrible on RFPs in this market, or, we have some information that leads us to know that this is not worth pursuing. Or we get inside information from the customer that somebody from their team is telling us, you don't really have a good chance here because, we're already committed to that other application or that other company's systems. So you're selling a diesel car. All we have is gas cars here in our fleet. So, you have a unique advantage. Yes, you're lower in maintenance, but nobody here likes diesels. And so, we're going to go respond to the RFP, and we're going to send our engineering team out there, and we're going to pursue this thing until the customer says no. And some sales organizations, they just do not know how to say no. And so sometimes you just have to say no. You have to say no to yourself. You don't be Ahab. Don't bring down your ship, kill all your guys, and then beckon other people after you're dead. And this is the problem. It's the greed that we have. This is at the heart of what the challenge, and not to end on a morality play or anything like that, but that's the challenge often. And the love of money is the root of evil, is what the Bible tells me. And so, being so motivated by money and making that be the sole thing, it can often cloud your judgment in terms of kind of like making that good determination of, is this worth it? Is this worth us investing all this time? So this is one of the sales tricks that a lot of good sales teams and people and leaders understand, is that what you actually want to do is not just fill your pipeline and have more dials and all of that, but also part of your job is to qualify those that are in the pipeline or that may come into the pipeline to know when to not pursue them. And, we were talking earlier about the 1 in 4. I got 4 opportunities that I'm pursuing for my one sale. Instead of the customer saying no to me after I've invested a whole bunch of money and time and effort to make it past that gate, so I give them the proposal, maybe I might just better spend my time figuring out which one of those 3 are not qualified and choosing not to pursue those. So I still close my 1, but I just don't waste my time with the 3. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Qualifying is really helpful, and not pursuing low probability shots is, really a good idea. And don't be Captain Ahab, man. Don't be Captain Ahab. And if you haven't watched the movie or read the book, it's a pretty cool book. It is very dense reading, so it's not for the faint of heart, because it's written in the 1800s. So if English is not your first language, you will begin to develop a respect for some of the complexities that early America had, because we had this group had a huge immigrant community, and so you have very distinct slang and speech patterns that are being relayed in the book. And that's actually one of the coolest parts of the book. The main character in the book, Captain Ahab, was a Quaker. And so he spoke a certain type of English that you would find in the Old English, from England English. The Quakers were primarily British immigrants that came from, that were abolitionists, and they were very religious, and so they spoke the King James, it's like listening to the King James Bible. And then you had other people that worked on the ships, other characters in the movie and in the book, that were just common sailors. So they had their terminology that they used. And then so it's kind of a cool book from that standpoint, but it can be difficult to understand, given our modern, maybe interpretation of these types of things. We don't get exposed to those kind of language forms, but it is a great book. A lot of us had to read it in high school. It is considered classic American literature, and it's one of the greats. It's one of the greats, but it is a mystery in an enigma, and it's just an awesome book. And the movie's great. Gregory Peck, really great movie. It's one of his best movies. It just really resonated so well. There was a little bit of a movie that was very similar that came out a couple years ago called In the Heart of the Sea. And that movie actually was very similar about the supposedly the true story of Moby Dick behind there. But anyways, very interesting topic, but I end this segment with that. So that's your 8 rules. That's your 8 rules right there, friends. I'll recap them again. Here you go. A, fill in the pipeline, work on the pipeline. Number 1 job that you have as a salesperson. Ask really high quality questions. Listen to those people, okay? Care about what they're saying. You're going to learn more by listening than by talking. Focus your presentations. Keep sharpening the saw there, baby. Keep working on getting that thing better. Update it, edit. Get rid of all the stuff that people don't care about in the presentations. Focus on customer needs and value. Trust, you're building trust all the time. Show your value. Know your value as a salesperson. Demonstrate that as an account manager, as a marketing person. What is your value here? Contrary to popular belief, that does not mean talking about at great length about you or telling your prospect what you think they need to know about your product. Show value means discussing the aspects of your solution or your project that you're trying to get funded that are the most relevant to the customer in terms that they understand. So get rid of your jargon, show your value, and do what you say you're going to do. So that helps build trust, know when to let go. So, all right, with that said, let's take just a second. I'm just going to have a little audio break here, and then we're going to go over to the stack of stuff. It's going to be great fun. See you on the other side. All right, we're back. We're back. It is the hustle is the hack. Stack of stuff, baby. Let's talk about the stack. Stacks and stacks. Are you ready for this? I got some great stuff this week. And, well, let's just talk about it. All right, enough Pac-Man. There you go, Pac-Man. Stop it. God, I hate that guy. You know how many quarters I wasted on Pac-Man? I mean, I just can't even get into it. It's so frustratingly painful. Anyways. All right, so a couple of things, stack of stuff this week. We had talked about last time we met. We ended on a couple things about the service organizations and whatnot. So I'm a Promise. I think that was our last one. So I've added more to the stack. We talked about EV and stuff like that. I put a little more things in the stack. But the first thing is number one on the stack is the 7 most in-demand IoT jobs that are going to be out there. And so this is trying to explain IoT to who's listening to this podcast right now, because I know my audience. I know who my audience is right now. And although I do have a lot of men salespeople and different people, I also know that there is a bunch of people that are not technologists. So I am going to try to relay to you what IoT means. So this is kind of a tall order because, not a lot of people are technologists that listen to this podcast, and yet I'm going to talk about some technology here. But this is important technology here. So please don't go, Pierre. Don't go, Pierre, you're talking about bad stuff and IoT. Don't turn me off right now. Don't do it. I promise this will be helpful. And so what is IoT? So this is an acronym that is played all over. People say this all the time. IoT. What are we talking about? What is an IoT? I want 4 of them. How many do I have? What is an IoT? And so IoT is an acronym standing for Internet of Things. Internet of Things. That's what IoT stands for. That's your quiz today. What is the quiz? So did you get it? IoT, Internet of Things. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. So IoT means Internet of Things. And so what does that mean? What is the Internet of Things? So the Internet of Things is in your home right now. You probably have, does anybody in the audience back there, Bueller, hey, Bueller, do you have a Cortana in your house? No, you don't. Do you have how about this? Do you have a Nest doorbell? Does anybody have a video doorbell? Okay, that is an IoT device. It is a thing. It is a device, and it's connected to the internet. And that device, whether it's a refrigerator, a video doorbell, a truck, the tank in your, in your water tank, in your pool that does your chemicals, to the sous vide or your barbecue has a connection to the internet. Those are things in your home that have it. But Internet of Things is way bigger in industry. So if I go into industry and I look at a factory, I walk into a factory, what are the internet things that are connected in here? Well, all the heating and cooling infrastructure inside this building is connected. It's all connected to, and there's somebody that can look at a dashboard, a report, and that report can tell us, where the heat is too hot in the building and where it's too low in the building. And then I can use computers to adjust it so that I turn on certain parts of the building and turn down other parts of the building. The systems can pay attention to all of the temperature sensors in the building to go, hey, on Fridays at X amount, let's say at 3:00, the temperature goes way down. Well, why is that? Well, because people leave the building and we close the place at 3:00. The thermostats don't know that. We're still heating the building when everybody's gone. So what if we automated the heating in the building to turn the temperature down to just over the weekend, right? We would save money. So that's one way of thinking about the Internet of Things. And it gets way more sophisticated than that when you apply very complex computer structures to this and computer systems that interpret all of that data and then start to go, oh, there's sensors inside of the heating and cooling systems that show me how much this motor works when I get this amount of heat out of the system. And I can see that it's starting to work harder than it did last month to produce the same amount of heat. That means something is broken or is breaking in that product, or there's maybe a filter between the heating system and the output of the heating system that is clogged up. I better get somebody out there before something bad happens. And so that's the basic idea of these types of things. Internet and integrated Internet of Things. There is going to be and is currently an explosion of job opportunities in this space because it saves money. It makes environments safer. It reduces carbon emissions and usage of electricity. It lowers the cost of operating things. It helps companies that build and engineer those kind of complex systems to understand how things are actually used in the environments that they're built for, and how long it takes to repair them and what the repair was done when this particular alarm went off. And so when you can, engineer systems that pull all that information together, you get some pretty amazing results. Customers are happier, costs are lower, things become less expensive to own and maintain. And, there's a lot of return on investment. So you will hear me talking about this. This is one of those mega trends that's happening. IoT systems now are just on fire. It is a multi-billion dollar industry, and manufacturers are building this stuff right into the thing. And I have one of the most ridiculous IoT devices ever invented. My employer sent it to me around Christmas time, and it is a Bluetooth coffee mug. The coffee mug literally has a Bluetooth device in it, and I, on my phone, can control the temperature of the mug. It has a heater in there and all this kind of stuff inside of it. And it is a really ridiculous piece of equipment because it loses its Bluetooth connection all the time, and you have to reinstall it. It's just a horribly written application. As an application guy, you're going to pay attention to this stuff, and you just go, this is $100 flipping coffee mug. Who would ever buy this? It is kind of a ridiculous piece of equipment. But so it's a constant reminder to me of how over engineering can happen when technologists are trying to solve problems that don't exist. This is one of them. Like, why couldn't you just have a sensor inside of there that just kept it at 140 degrees? I don't need an app for this. I just need a thermostat and a heater. That's it. It's pretty simple. I don't need an app to share, and I don't need to, tweet out copies and photos of my warm coffee. Anyways, it's just ridiculous. So anyways, in the stack of stuff is the 7, get on with it, Pierre. The 7 most demanded IoT services. There's 7 things right now that, if you're looking for jobs, and you're going to find this is one of Pierre's strategies here, is you don't solve today's problems. What you want to do is you want to kind of look out a little in the future and go, there's a big problem that's going to happen, because you're trying to infer that issues are going to become big, fat, hairy deals in a little bit, like the next 2 to 5 years. And I want to position my solution or my product or service or myself to be ready for when that occurs. And so today I'm doing X, but I see Z is coming down the road, and I want to start moving towards Y and Z. So right now, there has been so much work. We all know this happens, right? Because we're always on the phone calling up we're calling up, somebody, hey, can you come out here and send a person? We're getting on the phone and hit 4. It says, hit 2 for Spanish. And then you're kind of going through the dialing menu to get to somebody to come fix some piece of equipment that already has a sensor in it right now. So why am I calling? Why isn't that device calling in and saying, I need to be fixed? That's where we're going. So right now, all this investment in customer kind of phone systems and call centers and stuff like that, that is not a growth business, people. That is not a growth industry. The growth industry is going to be to have the cotton picking machine call the dispatch system to send somebody out. Zero touch dispatching will happen. Like so we're not going to have somebody like, this is why we love kiosks. We don't want to talk to somebody anymore. We want to walk into McDonald's, or we want to open up the McDonald's or Starbucks app. We want to put our order in exactly how we want it. We don't have to worry about translating this to some other person to type it into a computer so somebody else can go make it for us. We just want the order that we want the order of, and we don't want to talk to anybody about this. And so this is where this is going. The IoT devices are just going to call in to the systems and say, I'm going to break, please fix me. So this is where IoT is going. So what does that mean? There's a bunch of jobs that are going to have to come in order for this to take place. That's right. We're going to have jobs that happen. So the first one is I got to have jobs. Number one, I need some talent people to go out and find them. I need recruiters and whatnot that have a good network of people that are engineering people, that are IoT people that know about these systems. And so I need to build a network around this. The next one is I need people. I don't need engineers necessarily to go and build this stuff, because this stuff is going to come right from the manufacturer already built. So what I need are people that can come up with the design of how to deploy those things. I need to have, I need solution designers. I need people that can take problems that exist and solve them using kind of solution design and design thinking methodologies. And what that is kind of going on a piece of paper and building out that kind of system in theory, so to speak, or designing it in before we actually install all of it. And then we want to start looking at the optimization of the processes that those IoT systems support. So it is like if anybody studied Lego leagues and went and built a robot, that's what you're talking about, the optimization of the process. I need to pick up a Lego block. And so there's a process that has that sensor sees Lego, extend arm, move the wheels right and left, do all these things. That's the process. So you need people that can kind of think through that process. I don't need to be a big time C# programmer to do that. That systems have tools to build this kind of stuff. So it's not the programming component that's important. It's the how to visualize and design and be creative about the optimization of the processes that are being supported. And the other part, of course, you're going to integrate all of this stuff, but the other two to think about is what is the commercialization and the business analytics to go around that. Because what's going to happen is that all of these companies right now that build their widgets, that build their stuff with the devices in it, what they want to do is that's a new product. That's a new way of doing business. So instead of selling you, let's imagine let's imagine we're going to build a company and we're going to create a company that makes shrink wrap machines. So if you've ever worked in a warehouse, what you do is you stack your boxes and you put them on your pallets. And then what do? How do you keep those boxes from falling off the pallets when you stick that pallet in the truck? You shrink wrap the entire pallet. And so there's machines. You stick the pallet on this little turntable. It spins around. You get off your high-low. You kind of tie the shrink wrap onto it, push the magic button, and it spins around and it puts the puts the shrink wrap on the thing, and then you just take it and you load it on the truck. None of the boxes are going to fall off. Everything is sealed. You're good to go. That's what a shrink wrap machine does. And so traditionally how you would sell if I'm the shrink wrap machine manufacturer, what I'm going to do is I am going to build the best darn shrink wrap machine ever made. And then I'm going to sell it to you, and you're going to give me $20,000 for that. And we're going to send our guy out. We're going to put it on the truck and we're going to install it. And we may charge you $1,000 for installation. And then anytime, you need shrink wrap, what you're going to do is, there's 100 shrink wrap companies. You can go on Amazon and buy shrink wrap. You can buy it from us, but we are there just because thank you for buying this great product. We're going to give you a 1-year warranty. And, anytime after that, you just give us a call and we'll send somebody out to fix it after that. And we'll just charge you regular time and material for that. Now, that is the way products were sold before the IoT model. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to engineer a completely different business model. What we're going to do is, instead of selling you a shrink wrap machine, what we're going to do is we are going to sell you we're going to make a freaking awesome shrink wrap machine, and you are going to subscribe to the shrink wrap machine. And what you're going to do is you're just going to pay us for every foot of shrink wrap that you use. We're going to provide you with the shrink wrap. We're going to come out and bring this thing to you. We're going to charge you maybe $2,000 to install it, because that's what it really costs to ship and install this thing out there. We're going to send and while we're out there, we're going to put 10 cases of shrink wrap. And then we have a device sensor inside of that thing that helps keep track of, it's my piece of equipment. So you're effectively leasing this equipment from me. And the way that you're paying for it is by how much shrink wrap you use. So I now start to learn how to fix that machine. And I, as a customer, am going to love this relationship, because I don't have to lay out $50,000 for the coolest thing. I only have to pay $10,000 to install this thing. And if I use it a lot, I pay more. But if I don't use it very much, I don't pay very much. And so customers love it. My company that engineers and builds these systems loves it, because they get all the information on how to make it better, because they know, well, for every 47,000 revolutions, we need to have an oil bearing replaced, or we need to have a fitting replaced. In the past, we never actually fixed this thing. We just sent it to the customer. They repaired the thing themselves. They took care of it themselves. And they only called us up if something big happened. We didn't really understand the maintenance life cycle of it, or how often it had to be lubricated. We had some standards, but we don't really know in their environment how it did. And now I can engineer a better product the next time goes around. So this is where this whole thing is going. So being able to take that business model and do it like the MBA case studies of coming up with a commercialization product, changing the way that we used to do business to a new way of doing business. Anyway, so I'm just telling you, dude, look into IoT systems and look at your great manufacturers. And those are the types of jobs that you're going to see come up. So, all right. So stack of stuff, I say I'm going to do 3 stack of stuff things. And so I'm going to go over here because I have another one that is, it's a good one. It's a really, really good one. My boss internally at my company a couple of weeks ago posted a picture of herself talking about going to a conference, and the conference that she went to had a singer in there, and that singer, I can only play a few minutes. Everybody remember this guy? Anybody? Do you remember? Yes, it's Daughtry. Daughtry. Everybody should remember that guy, Daughtry. Now, why are we talking about Daughtry? Like, what is up with that? What is up with that, Pierre? Well, I don't know if you remember Daughtry. If you do, he was on like the 4th or 5th season of American Idol. American Idol, of course, is just a really super popular show that brought singers, really, really great, awesome singers onto the show. And then they put them up in front of the audience, and the judges kind of judged them and coached them up and stuff like that, and got it down to a list of about 10 people. And then from there, everybody was even, Steven, like everybody had the same score. Basically, everybody was at 0. And then they started singing, and they would advertise to the audience, please call in to vote for, your favorite. And it was basically a popularity contest who was good. Well, what's your point, Pierre? Come on, get on with it. So what's the whole big thing about Daughtry? Well, guess what? Daughtry was number 4. He finished number 4 in that whole thing. He did not win. And so he lost. And there on the stack of stuff is the shocking moment where everybody's like, what? Even the people that beat him were totally like blown away, like, I can't believe it, because he was really, really good. And so he loses. And so this isn't the thing about losing. What the thing is about how bad the picking was, because the audience got it wrong. Just sorry to say this, but the audience got it wrong. Because what happened the next year? So he goes off of Idol. He signs a record deal. He had so much support when that record was released in 2007. It was the fastest selling to 1 million records ever, period, of all rock albums ever done. He was the number 1 selling rock artist that year. He sold over 9 million records, and he was, Grammy nominated. Just, you couldn't have expected more success in the market for his music. And yet he was number 4 on American Idol. My point is this, that sometimes, as we were saying before, sometimes the customer is wrong. The customer doesn't know what they want. The market, which is actually what American Idol ended up being a reflection of, this broad market. But for the show, in that narrow focus, they picked the wrong artist. He should have won. He was the most popular artist of the year. He was the best-selling record artist of the year. And yet he couldn't win American Idol. I think that's important to know. Sometimes you lose even though you're the best and most qualified. And so that's why going back to asking good questions is important. That's why getting out of deals is important, because sometimes you might be exactly the right fit, but the customer is not in the right buying, or your product or your company it doesn't fit with their model or their business strategy long term. And, so you want to avoid being Chris Daughtry. You want to be in that position of getting kicked off, even though you're the best guy in the field. So anyways, that's number 2, stack of stuff number 2. All right. Okay. We have one more. I have a couple ones to, which one? What other one could be good? What would be good? Well, we talked about AOL. Did we talk about AOL? I don't think we did. We didn't talk about AOL. So this happened. This was last week. AOL got sold. Verizon is the last keeper of the AOL and Yahoo, and AOL and Yahoo were just sold to basically a capital management company. And guess what? They sold them for $5 billion. And I got to tell you, $5 billion, that's a lot of money. It's, anytime you get into the billions, there's a lot of cash there. Now, that's the entire value of the company is $5 billion. And let's just kind of put that into some perspective here, right? Let's put that into perspective. $5 billion is a lot of money, but if that is usually when you buy a company, the general rule is 25 times their earnings. So that in fact would be $200 million a year. Now, AOL was purchased by Yahoo. AOL and Yahoo were purchased by Verizon for $9 billion. And so for $9 billion, they ended up selling the company for $5 billion. At its height, Yahoo's market capitalization was over $200 billion, and AOL's market cap was $125 billion. So these companies at one point in time collectively were worth $325 billion. And today they're worth a lot less than that. And, I don't know if you remember. I do. I certainly remember when I was a youngster back in the day, a crazy youngster. My mom and dad I bought my mom and dad's house and we lived in their home. My dad he had some illnesses. My dad had Parkinson's disease. And so we moved in with my parents to kind of help them run the house while he was at home. And so during that time, that was in the mid 90s, AOL was kind of, in its golden years. This is when it was really good. They would send you CDs, AOL, they would send you a CD on getting on, because they were like the combination of your internet service provider that provides you internet access, your email client, and Amazon and YouTube and Google all in one. They provided that as a complete service, basically email and all of this. This is why they got so big so quickly, because it was like an on-ramp service. And you just put the CD in your computer back when CDs were a big thing. And you basically just followed the bouncing ball and you connected your phone up to your computer through a modem, and it got you online, and you got your email and you were good to go. They were worth all of that money. Why is this important? Why is this important today? The important thing to think, again, because this is what is in the mind of Pierre. What is in that mind? What are we thinking, Pierre? I know this is good. People are applauding me because of this insight and observation. They were it. They were the thing. They were the it company of the day. They reigned in sunshine, and they were masters of the universe. And today they are not that. They don't reign in sunshine. They are not the masters of the universe. They are yesterday's trash. And the only thing that they're turning in tire in revenue is $200 million in advertising revenue every year. And all of that is legacy stuff. Nothing new. No innovation is happening. Those companies are now just being run in order to retain revenue. And that's all that's being bought today. So now, why is that important? Well, on the opposite side of what's being said today about the tech oligarchs and big tech and all of the political stuff that goes on today is this belief that companies that are at the top of their game today, let's say Facebook at L and YouTube and Google, are the masters of the universe today. And this will always be such. And this, my friends, is why they know this. They know that their days are numbered just like everybody else. To quote Andy Grove, the founder of Intel and CEO, one of the swaggiest fellas in town, he was the first one to have a cubicle in as a CEO, in with the normal people. And he was a man, he was pretty amazing fella. And anyways, he was trademark for him was he was kind of big in the 70s. And so you could think about how he was so hot with the ladies. He wore the man's shirt, like four buttons down, and he would have the gold medallions and stuff like that and the hairy chest. And he was just very iconic 70s looking dude. And he was just so cool. Anyways, he made a term, and it sticks with me, that only the paranoid survive. And that was his business model, that only the paranoid survive, because he knew what he knew that the product, when you're in technology, you're 18 months away from, because that's how much it takes to build a new product, about 2 years, and bring it to market. So your business is about 18 months away from getting disrupted by somebody else. And so you're always paranoid about making sure that you're the most innovative, and you're hiring the smartest people moving forward, and you're keeping that innovation, and you want to be at the edge of it. What will kill the edge in tech is if the federal government steps in to regulate it. Because as soon as the federal government, then it makes it an institution. As soon as they come in and say, YouTube, you are a regulated utility. Well, guess what's going to happen then? They're just going to become the FCC's version of regular TV stations. All the innovation goes away. They have basically cemented themselves into our lifestyles, just like the local television station that you have, and they're going to fall right within that. And so I just want to be a reminder, when it comes to technology and sales, whoever is in charge today and in the lead today, 10 years later, probably won't be that same way. They will all change. These guys were masters of the universe. They are now on the waste bin of technology, and YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that. I mean, anybody still have a MySpace? No, nobody still has a MySpace page. Most of you are going, I don't even know who MySpace is. How about Vine? TikTok will be in the same bin as Vine is 10 years from now. So these things are going to be cyclical, and I just don't believe anymore that the tech oligarchs are really that. I don't believe that's. And what's going to make them stronger is if the government steps in and makes them stronger. Anyways, that's my stack of stuff for today. I think we should get to the close of the show, because I think I'm good. I think we're good. Don't you? Don't you think? I think this was a great show. I think this was lovely. Yes. All right. Stack of stuff. Gave you 8 rules here. I mean, this is value. You are getting actual value. Starting your business, starting in sales. Hope you're doing great. I'm going to continue to say it. You are a possibility. I totally believe it. Check us out. The website, hustleisthehack.com. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. I don't care who hits it. But I hope you're doing well. And I want you just to have a blessed week. Talk to you later.